What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you guys don't already know, my name is Nate, and I upload all these kinds of videos like vlogs to these different worship talks like we're doing today, to even some song covers. So that kind of stuff interests you, go ahead and subscribe and stick around. You might actually like it. But today, I'm going to give you guys 5 tips to help you guys create a better worship experience. And all that's coming right up. So here we go with 5 tips that's going to help you guys create a better worship experience, starting with number 1, and is by far the most important. All these other tips will not work if you don't do this one thing, right? Very important. It's called prayer. Yeah. Prayer needs to become a daily part of your life. How do you expect to lead a congregation to worship or even introduce a congregation to worship if you don't even have a relationship with God? It's like there's no way that's going to work. So number 1 is prayer. All these other tips will not work if you are not praying daily and making sure that communication is always open. All right, you guys, starting with tip number 2, it is your intro. All right. So a lot of small churches, even I used to do this when I first started out. The service would start and we would just instantly start out with the song. And that's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not teasing you or making fun of people who used to do that. I used to do that. But there are better ways to introduce your worship set than just starting out the song like that. A lot of people use like a 5-minute countdown, and that's great. I love 5-minute countdowns. I actually would love to do 5-minute countdowns at our church. We don't really do it. I also feel like the 5-minute countdown is like almost a crutch. Like, don't be too dependent on that 5-minute countdown. And even if you have that 5-minute countdown, once the song starts, you still have like 10 to 20 seconds before you actually start singing that first verse of the song. So you have 10 to 20 seconds of, what are you doing? Just silent? This is where prayer comes actually in handy. So you always have to have like a Bible verse or just something in mind ready to say to the congregation. A lot of people just come up and say, "Oh, good morning, you guys. Welcome to whatever church we're at. Let's get up and worship together." That's great. That's a real good backup if you don't have anything to say. But always be prepared and always be praying, because God is going to give you something. And if he doesn't, then you have that as a backup. But that is your number 2. That's the number 2 tip. Your intro. Please make sure you guys have an intro prepared. All right, you guys. So tip number 3, which actually ties into tip number 2, is your transition. The same way as you would introduce a song, you need to be able to end that song, start the next song as smooth as possible. So like, no dead silent spaces in between. At our church, we are not allowed to have any like dead or silent spaces between the songs. So this is a real easy thing to do if the songs are in the same key. That way you can just have a pad in the back in that same key and there'll be no dead spaces. But we don't live in a perfect world, or you guys know what I mean. But so you need to be able to end that and start the next song. A lot of times we'll just, as soon as one song ends, like whether it's like a trash can ending or whatever kind of ending it is, we already have the second keyboard player already on that key. So when that last song does end, you're already hearing the next key for the next song. And that just helps out just doing a real smooth transition. Another tip we do, this is all involves tip number 3. Another thing we do is when we end our fast songs and we go into the slower songs, when we end that fast song, let's say we're playing Our God Reigns, all right? We're playing Our God Reigns, the song ends with that humongous, amazing ending with the synth. It's really cool. If you guys haven't heard it, you guys should listen to it. But so the song will end, and the worship leader, whoever's leading that song, will actually go into the song again at a very slow pace. And that just helps bring it from all the way up here back down to the more mellow worship. And that just works out so perfect. All right, you guys. So tip number 4 is it's not about you. This is a good time to like stop and take it back for a second. This is especially, I can't talk today. This is especially really hard for the musicians, where a musician has in mind, you know, about the gear and the equipment, and it's not bad. But sometimes you have to stop and take it back for a second. Like, I'm not doing this for the people. I'm not doing this for whoever's watching. I'm doing this for God. So at the end of the day, God don't care about your equipment or your gear, nothing. He cares about you. It's not about you. When you step on that stage or on that altar, you are not a musician. You are a worshiper. The singers are worshipers. Focus on worshiping Him. Once you get that out of your head, the whole it's not about you, the worship is just going to flow so much more easier, so much more better. You're going to feel the difference. Sometimes you really just need to step back and just focus on Him, not on your gear. All right. Please do focus on your gear and make sure that everything you're doing is sounding as professional as possible, but relax. It's not about you. It's about Him. All right, you guys, and last but not least, tip number 5, and it is preparation. The same way a musician prepares himself for that Sunday is the same way a worship leader should prepare themselves, not only for what they're going to sing, but what they're going to say and how they're going to leave. God is an organized God. You should be too. You should have already, during that week, the songs that you're going to sing, what you're going to say as an intro, what you're going to say in between transitions. All right? Please be organized and prepare yourselves. Same as a musician will sit down and, like, I'll grab my guitar and I'll sit down for a couple hours a week and just practice a song. Same way a worship leader should. Same way a worship leader should be praying daily and preparing themselves. If you don't do that, there's nothing else I can do for you guys. That's key. That's most important. All right, guys, so that's the end of the video. If you guys aren't already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, comment, share it. If you guys don't follow me on any social media, I'm going to have that all linked down in the description below. And that's the end. I'll catch you guys next time.